Hey, it's Zane. Welcome back. Hope you've had a great day. In today's video, I want to share with you some of the hidden costs associated with ignoring Bitcoin. What happens when you ignore Bitcoin? What does it really cost us? And I've made a few key points here today, and I want to share this with you. Now, if you're already here, then obviously you're pretty familiar with the problems that Bitcoin solves, some of the pitfalls of the legacy system that we're trying to opt out of. And so I guess this today is going to be reinforcement for you. I'm a great believer that in anything in life, including our financial lives, that repetition is the mother of skill. The more that we repeat our habits, our learning, our processes, our strategies, when we know we're on the right track, we just need to essentially just double down on everything that we know. And so whatever I share here today, yes, it may sound a little repetitive. I apologize for that if you feel like you're hearing the same message all the time. But, you know, I consider myself a bit of a disciplinarian. I think that anything that I've been good at or that I've achieved in my life, it really comes down to just pretty much doing the same thing on autopilot day after day, week after week, year after year. So if that resonates with you, you're in the right place. And just while I'm on that also, I just want to say a big thank you to you for tuning into my videos. I'm about to reach another mini milestone on my journey. 5,000 subscribers looks to be just around the corner for me. So again, I just want to say I appreciate you tuning into my content. I hope that you get value from it. And, you know, if you're not already subscribed and you want to hear more from me, if my message resonates, then please hit the subscribe button, and I'm sure that you'll be a contributor to helping me to reach that milestone. When I started this journey back in, I think it was late March, early April this year, I had no idea that I'd still be here in December. But, you know, I'm enjoying it. I'm building a tremendous community of wonderful people in the Bitcoin space. I've done a couple of hundred consultations plus over the past 9 months, people who have reached out to me and booked sessions with me that I've helped. And so, you know, everything suggests that I'm on the right path in doing what I'm doing. And so I'm going to continue to do it next year. And again, I just want to say thank you for being a part of that journey. Now, let's get into the video here today. Bitcoin rewards education, but Bitcoin also punishes ignorance. And you've probably heard me say it before, that people are going to come to Bitcoin by choice or by force. By choice or by force. And the reason I say that is because everybody who's in Bitcoin now, they're here because they're being proactive, because we can see the signs, we understand what's happening in the system, we feel that it's not right, we go and educate ourselves, and we realize that we live in a fiat debt-based system that is crumbling, that is failing, that is dying. And then we go and study Bitcoin because we understand the problem. Now we want to learn about the solution. And so we are being proactive, but then there's a whole bunch of people sitting on the sidelines right now who are either aware of Bitcoin and are being ignorant to it because they don't think they need it, or they don't want to do some study to try and understand it, or they flat out just really know nothing about it. And so, you know, those people are going to come here eventually, I believe, by force, because they're going to realize that they need Bitcoin as a place to park their savings, to protect their purchasing power, their livelihood. And, you know, it might be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years even. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think it's inevitable that we are going to get there, where there's going to be a flight and a rush to Bitcoin, where billions of people around the world are going to need it. And Michael Saylor often says, you know, we're in the midst of this great wealth transfer, because when you have a transitionary, disruptive, revolutionary technology or protocol like Bitcoin is, and you're like us, you're early pioneers or early adopters who see this before everybody else is seeing it or has seen it, then you realize that you're essentially looking for three things in order to create multi-generational wealth. You want to find something that everybody's going to need, that cannot be stopped, and that most people still don't yet understand. And that explains Bitcoin perfectly. It explained the internet back in the late 90s. Something that everybody's going to need, that cannot be stopped, and that most people still don't yet understand. And that is exactly what Bitcoin is. And so if you're here, just realize that these are tremendous features for building wealth into the future that you are a part of. You are on this train right now. And so you just need to keep your eye on the prize. You need to keep focused. You need to keep connected, keep educating yourself, connect with like-minded people, communities, just to help you stay on track, to help quieten the noise, and you're going to win in Bitcoin. So let me just rip through some of these points I've made here about the costs of ignoring Bitcoin, and maybe some of this is going to reinforce some stuff you already know and maybe help you along your way, and maybe help you to help others that you care about, that you would love to have on the Bitcoin journey with you. Firstly, the financial opportunity cost. If you ignore Bitcoin, you're falling behind every single year in terms of your wealth. Now, people who have superannuation, as an example, they probably don't consider this deeply, but they don't realize that there is a cost associated with having their savings parked in a fund that is doing 8% a year, which is pretty much what Aussie superannuation funds, industry super funds, are averaging over the past 10 years. In fact, it's a bit less than that, but let's call it 8%. Now, what that means is that for every $100,000 you've got in super, in 10 years at 8%, it's only going to double. That's it, right? Now, you might say, well, that sounds like a great outcome, but the problem is that when true inflation is running at 13 or 14%, you're actually selling out your retirement. You're selling out your financial future when you do that. And this is why many people now are starting to realize that they need to take control of their super, set up a compliant, self-managed super fund with an expert who knows how to do that, roll over their underperforming industry fund, put it into Bitcoin, some of it, whatever they feel comfortable with. But as an example or a comparison, for that 100,000 that's in super at 8%, that in 10 years is only going to double, if Bitcoin keeps on its current growth path, that $100,000 in 10 years is going to be several $1 million, right? I think it's 3.5 to 4 million to be exact, if it's $100,000 at 50%. And so the opportunity cost, in simple terms, of doing nothing, okay, 3,500 in Bitcoin, 200,000 in traditional super, so 200,000 from 3.5 is 3.3. So there's your opportunity cost of doing nothing. And so there's a lot of people starting to wake up to this. They're starting to realize that it's not Bitcoin that is high risk. It's that ignoring Bitcoin is the greatest risk. Okay, let me say that again. It's not Bitcoin that is high risk. It's ignoring Bitcoin that is the greatest risk. And so Bitcoin is the fastest horse in the race. It is the fastest growing and best performing asset that humanity has ever seen. And you have to just keep zooming out and looking at long-term growth charts of Bitcoin comparative to other asset classes, and you begin to realize that if you're in anything else, then you are essentially in the second, third, or fourth best asset instead of the best. And so there's a cost to that compounds for your future wealth year after year. So that's point number one, the opportunity cost to you financially. Number two, with Bitcoin you have permissionless money, and in the traditional system you have gatekeepers to your money and to your wealth. Okay, so you have in the traditional system a permissioned system that is full of gatekeepers. Now these gatekeepers require permission. You need their permission for everything, for accessing your money. It could be brokers, it could be bankers, it could be real estate agents, it could be advisors, lawyers, accountants. And the reality is that most of these gatekeepers are really nothing more than toll collectors who skim value from your savings and your wealth, if you really think about it. And I'm not being harsh. I know that these service providers in some ways add some value, but the reality is that they are actually depleting the value of your wealth every time you transact with them. Okay, plus when it comes to banking, what they are doing is starting to quarantine what you can do with your own money. And so you've got to ask yourself if you're happy moving into a world where that is going to become increasingly restrictive. And we're seeing right now people being told that they can't withdraw the amount of money they want to withdraw, to buy Bitcoin, to buy gold, to buy silver, to send money overseas, whatever it might be. There are limits placed on how much certain banks will allow people to withdraw from their accounts. So this is all a sign of the gatekeeping system becoming increasingly controlling, almost to the point where you've got to ask yourself whether it's actually your money that they're holding, or is it actually their money the minute that you hand it over. So again, very important to consider all of this. Permissionless money. With Bitcoin, you don't require permission from anybody. You are the ultimate custodian of your wealth. There are no custodians to your money, no middlemen. Okay, you are in complete control. Number 3, mobility, versatility, and global freedom of movement. So because Bitcoin is a completely portable asset, you can pick it up and move it to any jurisdiction that you choose at any time, at a moment's notice. Try doing that with real estate. Try doing that with your share portfolio, your managed fund. Try doing that with your superannuation. It's very, very difficult to do that because those assets are jurisdictionally restricted to where they are located. Okay, which basically means that they are a sitting duck for any policy changes that take place in those jurisdictions. And so because Bitcoin has no particular home, no particular jurisdiction, because it's decentralized, because nobody controls it, there is no CEO or politician or central banker that oversees it, it essentially gives you access to money that you can move anywhere at any time. Okay? So when you ignore Bitcoin, you are foregoing one of the greatest freedom technologies in terms of our money that we have ever seen. Okay, peer-to-peer global money. Number 4, security, sovereignty, and seizure resistance. Okay, in an increasingly overreaching world, most assets can be frozen, restricted, they can be taxed into oblivion, okay, and controlled, and Bitcoin cannot. I mean, Bitcoin is its own entity. It's not even an asset. It's a protocol that is completely out of reach of the centralized system. And so it's censorship resistant, it's seizure proof, and it is unconfiscatable when held in self-custody. Okay, these are very, very powerful features. Now, when you hold your Bitcoin in self-custody, what you're effectively doing is you are holding the private keys to your wealth. And unless you give up those private keys, then nobody can take that wealth from you, no matter what the situation. And so I'll leave you to ponder what this means for really high net worth individuals who are starting to wake up to this also. So your security, sovereignty, and seizure protection. Now, when you think about the Canadian truckers just a few short years ago who were peacefully protesting, which was their right to do, with the Freedom Convoy, and things got to a point where they were fed up and they wanted to just voice their disapproval with what was happening, what eventually happened? Their GoFundMe pages were blocked. Some of them had their bank accounts frozen. None of this would have been possible if they had their savings stored in Bitcoin. Okay? So, it's very, very powerful to have censorship-resistant money. And again, I'll leave you to ponder what the implications of this could be in this environment that we're heading into if you're paying attention to what's going on. Now, the final point I want to make here today is ignoring Bitcoin essentially means that you are saying no or missing out on the world's first truly global, decentralized free market. Now, you and I are under the illusion, because we've been told this, that we live in a free capitalist society. But the reality is that it's impossible to live in a free market when you have broken money. Okay? Because when you have a free market, one of the hallmarks of a true free market is that the price of things is meant to fall, not rise. Because as we become more productive, more efficient, more technologically advanced, as entrepreneurs solve more problems, what happens is that we are meant to be the beneficiaries of that through a better quality of life. But instead, what happens is that all of that progression that we create as human beings, we don't get to benefit from, because all of that benefit is papered over through an inflationary currency. And this is why, as an example, it's a pretty crazy example, but a loaf of bread in 1989 was something like $2.60, and today it's up around, $5.50, $6, something like that. I mean, you mean to tell me that we haven't got more advanced at making loaves of bread? We haven't become more efficient at making loaves of bread? Of course, the cost of bread should be significantly cheaper these days, but it's not. It's more expensive. Why? Because currency is being debased. They're inflating the money supply, which means you need more dollars to buy the same item. So, when you're in a global free market, the opposite is true. Those loaves of bread are going to go down forever. Those houses, those cars, those holidays, those insurance policies, whatever it might be, when you price them in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a deflationary currency, not an inflationary currency, it is a fixed and finite monetary protocol that cannot be changed. When you store your value in it, the cost of living goes down, not up. Your standard of living goes up, not down. The price of everything around you falls. This is a true hallmark of a global free market. So you get to choose. Do you want to participate in the world's first truly global free market, where you can transact peer-to-peer with other Bitcoin holders, okay, and merchants who are going to be offering their customers the opportunity to pay in Bitcoin? I mean, we saw Square just in the last month or so, Jack Dorsey's company, they rolled out 4 million plus new merchants in America for Bitcoin payments. So this is coming. So this is a global free market that you're going to be able to participate in if you're a Bitcoin holder. So I'm going to leave it there today, but Bitcoin rewards education and Bitcoin punishes ignorance. I want you to think about that, and I want you to leave me some thoughts in the comments if you want to add something here today. I hope you got some value from today's discussion. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help me get to that 5,000 subscriber milestone. It's an important little milestone for me to get to. Just gives me that sense of achievement that I'm heading in the right direction, that people are resonating with what I've got to share. But I want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. See you in the next one. This is Zane signing out. Bye for now.